Thank you so much, Michelle. Again, we just had a very nice chat with Kian of PMG to learn about the origin of the project and the progress that has been made in the last couple of years. So this is really to also, I think, complement my understanding so far by talking to you. And I want to start this interview by asking about AIM. What is AIM? What does it do?
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. So AIM is the European Brands Association. We represent branded goods manufacturers across Europe. We are present in 20 countries through our national associations, and we have 55 corporate members. We've been here based in Brussels, Belgium, since 1967, and our role is to ensure that we protect brands. So we do a lot in terms of intellectual property, in terms of protecting our brands, consumer goods products, for example, from counterfeit. We do a lot in terms of consumer engagement, consumer empowerment, because consumers are at the heart of everything that we do. And we do a lot in terms of the supply chain and ensuring that we can look at sustainability and how we can ensure that we bring that sustainability through in terms of the legislative process here, but also through initiatives and projects such as Holy Grail that we'll talk about.
Great. Just out of curiosity, were you working for one of the European brands before working for AIM?
I was actually an advisor here in Brussels for many years, and yes, I did work with a number of the brands. Yes.
I see. Okay.
And yes, I am Irish, based in Brussels.
Great. So about Holy Grail, we heard a little bit from Hyam about the origin, but how did the AIM get involved in the project in the first place?
Sure. So the project started, as Ian probably explained, through the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the New Plastics Economy initiative that they run, the program there. A number of our members have been involved, and because of course sustainability is core to what we do overall as branded goods manufacturers. They brought the project to our attention. We had seen that it was going on. We had been following it at a distance. And when it came to the end of its first phase, Holy Grail 1.0, they came to us and asked AIM, would you take this on in terms of facilitating it? And once we heard about what the objectives were, what we were looking to achieve, this fitted right into our overall strategy of brands leading change for a sustainable future. So it was brought to us by our members.
I see. And so Hyam was explaining to us that there have been a lot of attempts made to basically make the sorting process more efficient and more engaging. So what was different about the Holy Grail to AIM?
One of the big differentiators for this project was our members are the branded goods manufacturers, and they brought it to us. They brought it to us with others across the value chain. And I think that is what is particularly unique and special about this whole initiative. The initiative brings together everyone in the value chain. So it's the brand owners, the retailers, the waste management facilities, recyclers, converters. Every link in the chain is together in this initiative. And that was a real differentiator for us, because we know that in order to actually achieve the goals that we are committed to achieving on a circular economy, we need to work together.
So what was the process like? So they, Hyam and the team came to AIM and then basically explained this project, and then the he also explained to the members of the AIM about the project, and then got quite a lot of excitement. Is that right?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of excitement about it, about the potential of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as sustainability is so key to all of our members, they could see, and there is a real recognition of the need for that cross value chain collaboration. We took it on, and we kicked off, and when we started, and that was just over 2 years ago, we did think, okay, we'll start small. And when we actually launched the charter, we were hoping to have at the start maybe 15, 20 members to start off and move forward across the value chain. And now today we stand at over 170 organizations and companies involved in this. So there is massive interest across the value chain, not just with AIM members, but across the chain.
Right. And then there's additional interest from the remaining members of the AIM to join.
Yeah, everybody is watching this. It is a project it's an assessment of a technology which, is going to be quite disruptive. If it works for everyone, for every stakeholder in the value chain. So everybody's watching they're interested. They want to know how this goes. And it's not just in terms of members and the private sector, but in the public sector as well. European policymakers here who are driving what we call the European Green Deal, when we're really looking at how we can achieve climate change, how we can achieve circular economy in 2030, by 2050. They're looking at these new technologies, and they're looking at this project, and they're waiting to see results. It's quite exciting.
Right. So yes, and then we have also seen some of the videos of actually this new machine being able to sort at the very high accuracy, and that's kind of so very tangible. And yes, I agree that this is quite an exciting innovation. In getting more members of the AIM to kind of support from kind of observer to a more active supporter to this project, what are the things that the AIM is doing to basically, I guess, encourage and convey the value of supporting this?
Yeah. So right now you've seen the results of the initial trials, which was in the semi-industrial phase in Copenhagen, and that took place in the second half of 2021. And what we are looking at now, going into the rest of 2022 and going into 2023, whilst we've had very high success rate in terms of the detection and the ejection to sort with that technology. What we really want to look at is how we bring that right through to the recycling stage, where we will have a higher quality recyclate at the end, which is what we want as brand owners. We want to have that market where we can have a high quality recyclate to bring back into our own chains, to reuse that kind of high quality recyclate in the packaging. So it's a process in terms of proving that this can happen, and we're kind of halfway through, if you like, in terms of having had those great results in this phase 2 with the semi-industrial trials. Now we're going to move to industrial scale, where we're going to test this at industrial scale, because you need to put it into, let's say, the real life environment of the waste management facilities. And that's part of why AIM members, but also others across the value chain, are looking at what the results are at each stage with each stakeholder that is involved. So what we're doing is communicating across the board when we have those results. That's why you've seen some of them on our website, and making sure that we keep people informed of progress as it happens, as it rolls out, if you like. It's a live kind of experiment, it's happening right now. So it's interesting for people to learn about it as we go along. We also have learnings, of course, along the way that we are actually helping in terms of it. We'll share when we need to in terms of technology.
Right. Great. The next question, maybe you already touched upon some of those aspects, but what has been the most satisfying thing about taking on this project as AIM, and also at the same time, what are some of the challenges that you encountered so far?
So one of the most satisfying things that I personally have found, and the team here at AIM, is that we're working with experts across each stakeholder. So it's quite unique. Normally, the brand owners work with each other, retailers work with each other, the waste management facilities are working with each other, the recyclers. It's really quite incredible to bring that expertise all together, and for everyone to be working towards the same goal. This requires systemic change in order for us to achieve what we need to achieve overall in recycling plastic and ending plastic waste. We all need to work together. Now that's a big shift. It really will be transformational. And what I really appreciate is the experts that come together on this. They're really putting themselves into it. It's a really joint effort. It's not one over the other. It's a joint effort. It's a great example of partnership. It's a great example of collaboration. In terms of challenges, in a way, it is the fact that it will require systemic change. We have to change the way we've been doing things for many, many years, and that we all want to move really fast because we know where we want to go. Part of the challenge is that you have to go through the trials, you have to test, you have to prove, you have to make sure that it works for the waste management facilities just as it works for the recyclers, just as it works for the brand owners, the retailers, everybody in the whole stakeholder wheel. There has to be a value proposition for all of them. So we'd love to move at breakneck speed, but you do have to just go through the process of actually making sure, that it works at each stage for each stakeholder in that stakeholder wheel.
Right. Yeah, I was asking this question. So because of the information that is in the digital watermark, which really helps the waste management processes, but at the same time, it could expose a lot of companies. If somebody basically see a waste on the beach, and then we used to see the logos and the brand name, etc. But it could have additional information, a lot more than this what we can see on the brand and the packaging. And is that would that worry some companies that it might expose them too much?
No, because the information that would be available within the watermark, we will select what information is available, through the consumer engagement piece. If the consumer is going to scan it, and what information, one of the challenges we always have with consumer information is to find the balance, to calibrate it. How much do you need? Do they want? Do they need? Consumers make their choices, and they make informed decisions based on information that is useful to them. Information that could be in the watermark, which is related to the code about what is required for the polymer and the plastic in order for it to be recycled, they don't really need to know that. It's the recycler that would be interested in that. So there will be a process whereby the information that the consumer wants in terms of perhaps what is the plastic, how is it being recycled, what's the, what that kind of information, that will be available to them. the other information would be available to, what you'd call maybe the technical side on the B2B side. That's not relevant or interesting for the consumer.
I see.
So I don't think that would be an issue for companies, because that will be that kind of information is not going to be shared with consumers because it's not interesting.
I see. Okay, thank you for that. Now, being in Southeast Asia, and we do see a lot of plastic waste, and unfortunately end up on the street, in the ocean, and we do know that it's a very complex system. Challenges. The collection system is still weak. The awareness from the users need to still be developed. But how do you see this technology's potential and applicability in countries like Indonesia or African continent?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because of course, countries are different all over the world, and we are testing this in Europe, where it's quite different in Europe compared to Asia, although I'm not an expert on Asia at all, but I know that there is a very large difference, and there's a very serious challenge in terms of that kind of the system that you have. What we can see, the potential, is that you would be able to use this with a smartphone. So if there is the ability to adapt to the system that is in place in Indonesia, then that's something I think that we would be looking to explore. That's definitely one of the benefits of this technology, is that it could be adapted to a smaller scale, as in a home as such, and how that could be used then potentially in the system that you have in Indonesia. I know this is very different. I'm not an expert on the systems in these countries, but I know there is a difference in terms of how it is used. So we'd look to see how it can be adapted, how the model could be adapted in different countries, and what the system is there.
Great, thank you. I want to switch gear a little bit and then ask you about the relationship with the Alliance.
Yeah.
So what has been the role of the Alliance in supporting the aim in embracing and supporting the Holy Grail project?
So it's twofold. The Alliance is a funder. They power the initiative through the funds that they provide. But more than that, they have expertise on taking on these initiatives and running different kinds of projects across the value chain. And we've tapped into that with the team from the Alliance that's working with us on the Holy Grail project. And they bring those different considerations. They have real expertise in waste management. They have expertise on the recycling side that is within the Alliance overall. And what they've done is pull a project group of experts on that side, so they look as well at some of the results that we're achieving. So that's very helpful. And we're also looking at, what is required. I mean, they have the expertise and the know-how to assess, what do we need to do? What framework would we need to develop in order to scale this? And that they bring that expertise to us as well. So that's very valuable. It's not something that we've done before, on a cross value chain initiative of this type. So having that type of experience within the project, that's very helpful for us.
Great, thank you. My last question. So how does the AIM see the Holy Grail's future activities? What do you want to see? And how does AIM want to further that effort?
So, we want success. We want to see that this technology works, that it will be a game changer in terms of how it can be adapted. this doesn't happen overnight. Like with any technology, it is systemic change, it's transformational. What we want mostly is, our key objective here is to make sure that at the end of the day, this allows us to recycle more plastic, to end plastic waste, so that our waste, with our brand's waste, is not it doesn't end up on those beaches, because that's not supposed to be where it's supposed to be. So we want to make sure that we can see, hopefully we will get to a point of circular economy. It'll be a holistic value proposition for everyone, and we will achieve those goals of ending plastic waste and making sure that we can create that high quality recyclate that we want to bring back into our packaging.